Many of our lives has been changed because of Jesus. And one such life is our dear sister Rui En. So help me put our hands together and welcome our sister Rui En as she come and share her life with us.
Hello. Happy Easter, guys. Can I just say now I have newfound appreciation for pastors. Because doing 3 services in a row is really no joke.
Thank you. Thank you for your newfound appreciation.
Much respect, Pastor Chua. Hi guys, how are you guys doing? So happy to see you guys. Happy Easter.
Yes, thank you for spending this weekend with us, sharing your story 3 times. Don't worry, this is your last time already. Okay?
Yes.
And for those of us who are from Channel 5, she's actually a very famous actress in Channel 8. Just for some of us who may not be aware. Then I heard a little bird whisper to me that even though she acted in Channel 8, she actually failed her Mandarin. All right, so I thought it was very interesting. So maybe you can share with us a little bit how that can be possible for someone who acted in Channel 8 can have F9 for English, Chinese.
Yeah. Did you guys know that I got F9? I haven't spoken about it a lot, so this is one of the first few times I'm talking about it. So you guys watch me on Channel 8, right? And then it sounds like my Chinese pili pala. I heard your Chinese pili pala.
跟我讲.
Wow. Well, I really didn't know. Okay. More respect.
Only now.
No, like the 3 sermons in a row already, a lot of respect. And so my background is actually that I come from Jiakantang family and schools. Okay, just because Singapore Chinese Girls' School has the word Chinese in it, doesn't mean that our Chinese is good, okay? It's the opposite. So,
Don't worry, I heard the same for another school.
What school?
Another Chinese school. I heard someone here at, where's Edric?
好像很多嘞。
Yeah, Edric come from another Chinese school called Anglo-Chinese School. Yeah. Same.
So, Pastor Edric, Chinese not so good, huh? Is it really, huh? Okay, 等一下我跟他讲，他在吗？
他在那边。
Okay. Yeah, so, I scraped by for O-levels, right? And then I got into, in JC, I was in the wilderness, okay? I was partying a lot. And so this is my JC. Yeah, my JC, I don't even know what is that pose? I don't know what I was doing. And then my first attempt in JC, I got F9. I was planning to go to local uni, and so 要及格嘛，要 pass 的. So no choice, I have to.
No, that's good. I hear Chinese from out of you naturally. Quite good.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
No, this was a long time ago, Pastor Chua.
Oh,
now
yes,
very good already.
Yes, I forgot.
Yeah, and so, retake, then, wow, hallelujah, C6 pass already, right? And then at that point of time, I was just like, I never want to speak Chinese again. I don't think I'm going to speak Chinese ever again. I don't want to read, reading is the worst. I don't want to read Chinese ever again. Let me take everything in my head and throw away because I'll never have to use Chinese ever again.
They said return to the teacher.
And then what happened. The guy upstairs has a twisted sense of humor. But for your information, it wasn't overnight. It took me quite some time, maybe about 10 years before of reading scripts and like checking the dictionary, last time red color one, very thick one, that I got comfortable with Mandarin lah. So I just want to encourage the people here or the parents here who have kids that I know nowadays our kids really struggle with Mandarin. If I can do it and become Channel 8 actress, anybody can, okay? So there's hope. Amen.
Yes, there's hope, okay?
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, all the parents here, just take comfort. All right, Mandarin not easy, but take about 10 years lah.
No lah, 不需要啦，10 years
不需要
有点恐怖啦。
他的经历需要10年。
Yeah.
你们可能不需要。
比较抗拒，yeah.
Okay, sorry, this is English. We don't need 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not supposed to speak in Mandarin.
Is it?
I don't know. Why are you so?
Okay. Just be natural.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I also some of us noticed in your Insta story. We can talk about mental health issues and all that. So maybe you can tell us a bit more what's happening.
Yeah, those are my mental health reels. Last year I started a series of mental health reels, and I think at this point in my life, I realized that I really didn't want to reach the end of my life, look back and realize that, well, I had acted well, or I'd sung well, or I'd created content well. I think at this point in my life, purpose matters. And so simply because I've been through some very dark times, I've been through times where I've seriously considered taking my own life. And so the guy upstairs has given me a platform, blessed me with a platform, and I just want to use this platform to help people feel less alone, because I know how lonely it is.
Thank you very much for doing that. I think it's not easy for someone who's going through mental health challenges to be so public about it. And I think because you are
It's a little
public,
scary.
yes.
It's a little scary.
But yeah, I believe it encourages many of people who are struggling with mental health issues to know that it is okay to talk about it, because that's where you can find help.
Yeah,
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I think one of the big lies of the enemy is when you're going through something difficult is that you feel like you're very alone, but actually you're not. But
Yes.
and the only way you're going to realize that you're not alone is to share and to like seek help. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So seeking help is so important. And if there's some of you who are struggling with mental health issues, please seek help, and you can check her out on the Insta story. See, I 把你打广告. But more than that, I think get involved in a community of believers, because that's where we can journey with you. Don't walk alone.
Can't do it alone. Can't do it alone.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. So I think we hear about a lot of your own struggles and all that. Particularly, we also are familiar about your issue about identity. So maybe you can unpack that for all of us.
Yeah. Basically, I've had an identity crisis over the past couple of years. And it really kicked off with the question, who are you if you are not Rui En the celebrity? I want to ask the audience now, just answer honestly in your own heart, like, who are you if you are not fill in the blanks? CEO, entrepreneur, Grab driver, stay-at-home mom, senior pastor, prime minister, actress.
Yeah.
Who are you? For some background, starting from 2020, I had a cat die suddenly, a very young cat. You guys aware I'm a cat lady? I've got 4 cats. I love cats ever since a kid, yeah. So I'm a cat lady. I had a young cat die very suddenly. My father, who has migrated to New Zealand, in the middle of COVID, when borders were still closed, he had what we later found out to be multiple heart attacks. And borders were closed. I couldn't fly over even if I wanted to. And he eventually had to have open heart triple bypass surgery. And I left the management company that had discovered me and taken care of me and was my safe refuge for my entire career. Yeah, so for the cat one, maybe some people don't really understand pet grief.
Yep.
Do you understand? Do you want
Sure.
your personal mental health one?
Yeah, so for some of us, we may not be familiar, or we may not feel as much when dogs or cats died. But for people who are now very involved in pets, when their pet pass away, it is actually a very deep, painful experience for all of them. In fact, one of my psychiatrist friends shared with me that in his treatment with some of the patients, pet grief can be worse than losing your grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the relationship with your grandparents may not be as intimate as your relationship with your pet. So it's very real.
Yeah. I don't have kids, okay? My cats basically are my kids lah. And so losing that cat suddenly was, I know it sounds kind of funny, but it was really my first introduction to grief. My dad survived and he's doing very well now. But it became very clear that it's like urgent, it became very clear I don't have a lot of time left with him. And self-managing meant that I had to acquire a lot of skill sets I didn't have overnight. It was just a very, very steep learning curve for me. So very overwhelming, oh yeah, that's my dad. That's my dad in New Zealand when I went to see him. So a very destabilizing period, a very chaotic period, very overwhelming period. And okay, some background now. People who are close to me know that I am a very curious person with many questions. You kena before, right? I think I
Yes,
text
yes,
you
yes. I
a
cannot
question.
before already, yes.
Yeah, so people who are close to me, and then especially pastors, a lot of questions for them. So like, till this day, I have a million questions. Till the day I die, I have a million questions. I die already, go heaven, continue to ask Jesus all my questions, like 5 million total accumulated. So on top of this, all that chaos, I had this question in my head, right? It just kept coming up, which was the question I started off with. So who are you if you're not Rui En the celeb? It was a very terrifying question to even consider, because I knew I didn't have an answer. I knew I had no idea. At that point, I realized that I had let my self-worth and my identity become so enmeshed with what I do for a living that I cannot separate the two, right? And if anything, I had one answer, which was that I was nothing. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Terrible. Terrible. Yeah, and so after 4 years of all of this, I was really trying to just keep my head above the water and really I was just gaining my way through it, but it was difficult. And after 4 years of all of this and all these questions, in the middle of last year, I plunged into depression. I think I'm quite proud of myself that I managed to last 4 years before that. But yeah, middle of last year, depression. I would wake up and I would be, when you're half awake, you're semi-conscious for about half a second. And in that half a second, everything is okay. And then you're fully conscious and everything like hits you and you remember, right? And there would be this dark cloud of despair and darkness that would just come upon me. It was awful. It was just really, really awful. I would feel like I was having a heart attack or like an asthma attack all the time because my chest was just so tight. It just felt like it was just tight all the time. Simple day-to-day tasks would be overwhelming. Like I just couldn't do simple things. Mm-hmm. And when you're like in that much pain, you basically just want to be unconscious because you just don't want to feel that, right? And I really, really wanted to sleep like 24 hours a day, but at the same time, I had insomnia. So for those who have not experienced depression before, the best way I can describe it is this infinite hopelessness. The way I categorize depression is just a lack of hope. There is no hope and there is no light. All you have is darkness. So Bible school had been brought up before by my previous cell leaders, right? Because one of the cell leaders had attended that school and she brought it up. She was like, hey, would you want to, maybe you should come and attend this, Bible school. And at the point of time, I give the spiritual answer. Let me pray about it. But actually, my heart, it's not that
Thank you for exposing that.
Yeah, no, I'm often honest to my own detriment.
Yeah, all pastors always get that from a lot of members. I'll pray about it.
Would you prefer us answer a different way?
Just tell me no lah.
Oh, really, man? Can I?
I'm quite secure one.
Okay. I will, no, but you see, I really wasn't sure. Okay, so I said, okay, I will pray about it. But actually, in my heart, it was like, huh? Bible school? Really? And then when I was going through this depression, my current pastors from 316, Pastor Norman and Debbie, they brought it up again. I gave the spiritual answer again lah. Because really don't have any other answer lah. So I just said, okay, let me pray about it. But there was something in me that was just, as I look back, I think that the resistance was out of like inferiority, because you hear Bible school and you think pastors, church leaders, very holy people. You went, man? You went to only Bible school.
I teach at Bible school. I'm teasing her. I'm just teasing her, please.
I love it. Yeah, so, like very holy people. And at that point, I felt so broken. It just, like, to me, it didn't compute. Like, it didn't make sense for me to go. But one morning, as I woke up, savored half a second of blissful unawareness, and then that cloud came upon me. I knew that I had to go. If anything, like I said, honest to my own detriment, is if anything, it was out of pure desperation. I felt like maybe if I had some place to rush to in the morning and be on time for, that maybe I'll be able to postpone that cloud for a short period of time, maybe a couple of hours. And so I went, and God met me there.
Wonderful. I think we all want to know more about how did God meet you there.
So, the way God met me was through a series of events that is very different. I don't have enough time to go into it. I have a journal of it on my phone, but it was just a continuous series of events that made it very clear that God had his hand on me and that he was walking with me. I wasn't alone, right? But I can't go into that here. I will go into like 2 stories. Bear in mind when you hear these stories, right? No one at that point, so I mean, this is the first time I'm sharing about this publicly. No one at that point knew what I was going through, okay? I was just there, and I was just trying to keep a low profile and kind of just do the bare minimum. And so Tongling Bible School is a place where there are a lot of international students that fly in to attend for the 3-month semester. There was this one Russian pastor, Pastor Oksana. She's actually from the Siberia side of Russia, so really far north. Yeah, that's her, and that's us in this place for our Tongling graduation. So we had never spoken before. We had seen each other in class, but we had never spoken before. And one morning, she wakes up with my face in her head. She asked God, well, okay, so what does this mean? And then later on, as she shares with me that she senses that God is interested in my healing. And I was like, healing. Okay, she didn't know at that point. And a short while after that, we started on inner healing, which, Pastor Chua, you want to explain what's inner healing? Above my pay grade, dude.
Okay. So inner healing is a process where we bring people back to their memory, where we allow Jesus to reframe the memory. If you are familiar with John 21, where Jesus brought Peter back to reframe his experience where he denied Jesus 3 times. All right, so they do that in the secular practice. They have a different term for it. For us, in Christian circle, we call it inner healing. And in BBTC, we call it restoring the foundation.
Yeah, so it's basically therapy on a spiritual level. Where one of the issues that we worked on was something that I wasn't even aware was an issue that I had, which was in spite of what I do for a living, in spite of being on TV and in spite of being on the covers of magazines and in photos and in posters and all of that, I, at the core of me, have always felt like an ugly little girl. I've never felt beautiful. I've always picked apart my own appearance. There are days until now I still hate the way I look. And so we worked. It wasn't even something I was aware was like a core issue for me, but God surfaced it during Tongling, and we started working on it. Yeah, via inner healing. A couple of just 2 other examples, because I don't have time. When you attend Tongling, it's a very open heaven kind of a place. And you will regularly get people coming up to you, at altar call, giving you prophetic words and all that. So at one altar call, this lady, Ruby, I don't know if she's watching, but she prayed for me and she was like, I just sense a heaviness in your chest. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, she had no way of knowing. And then another incident was when a full-time staffer in Tongling, Benji, came up to me one morning and gave me a verse. And that verse was Amos 9:11. So in that day I will restore David's fallen shelter, I will repair its broken walls and restore its ruins and will rebuild it as it used to be. I love David, by the way. And his interpretation of that was that, you know, God is not demolishing you completely, but chipping away gently at the bits that you don't need to carry anymore. And that was exactly the way I felt, you know. Okay, at first I did feel like I was in pieces. Like, how could he have known I was broken? But it was the second time I got that word about, you know, chipping away at the things that I don't need to carry anymore. Yeah. So really, really amazing experiences in Tongling. I will say though, it's important for me to state this, that I'm not saying that if you are depressed or or are having some mental health challenges that you go to Tongling for 3 months and then everything's settled. Okay, it's not K-drama or not Channel 8 drama. Mental health doesn't work that way. At the same time, I was doing a lot to try to get better. But while it's not a single solo solution, I did get an answer to the question that kicked off my identity crisis, right? Which is, who are you if you are not Rui En the celeb? It was a terrifying question at the beginning, but I eventually got that answer, right? And it made me realize that well, okay, a little bit of background. I was baptized as a child in an Anglican church. Hey, Pastor, you want to say, can say lah, it's okay.
我听话的，我听话。
我尊重你。Yeah, I was baptized in an Anglican church as a child, but I basically never really bought into the faith. I backslid the entire way, my entire life, until I came back to the faith about 7+ years ago. And so I'm in this like unique position where I come back to the faith and I need to strip away layers of the world, if that makes any sense to you. And I realized at that point after Tongling that I had been listening to the world and what the world was telling me who I was, instead of like going to the source and asking the person that created me, like, what did you create me for? And I will say that live by the sword, die by the sword, live by the world, die by the world, right? I want to ask you guys, like, how many of you guys know that you're worth exponentially more than what you do for a living? And that you are defined by your creator and not your career. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy when you actually get that realization. And I just want to say, in spite of my face being so big on that poster downstairs, and being on the flyers and leaflets, I am nobody in the church. I'm not a church pastor, I'm not a leader, I'm not trying to poach people to my church. I am not promoting, I'm not selling anything. The bakwa that I sold at Chinese New Year isn't my one, okay? Nothing to gain coming here and talking to 3 different services and having a lot of respect for pastors to do that. Nothing to gain. But I really am just doing this because I'm just a broken human being, trying to tell as many people as I can about what they are missing out on. And how great the God I serve is. I started with a question, and I'm going to end with a question. What do you have to lose by believing? Thank you.
Thank you.